This is what I like to call the breakdown. What Alpo says goes in a lot of people's mind. He's gonna make his side sound more valuable than somebody else's or everybody else's. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Octavia, and I am back with another video. This is going to be Azie Vlad's recent interview with Vlad, review slash recap. And this is what I like to call the breakdown. I want to make sure that I include as much as possible without constantly flooding y'all with the same topic. I like to switch it up, so I'm not sure if it will be 3 parts, but if it is, I will let y'all know. So if you are new over here, my name is Octavia. I'm from Washington, D.C., Southeast to be exact. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm also a mother of an almost 5-year-old. Again, I don't want to flood with the parts, even though it was a lot and it is a lot to cover. I don't mind, because AZ is one of the ones that a lot of the youth needs to listen to. He is pretty much the lone survivor of his time, and that could feel like a scary thing to him. That could feel very powerful, but otherwise that is very important to know. So part 7 was going into detail about Alpo bragging about putting in work for AZ. Supposedly some guys shot at AZ, and Alpo, hearing this, was livid. He claimed that he went up there gun strapped and handled business, and the way that he said it, it made it seem like he was alone in doing that, you know, and that he not only was capable of it, but he was loyal to AZ. That's the perception, right? And AZ shed more light on that and basically said Alpo wasn't alone. Yes, he was mad, you know, yes, he went and got guns, but other people did as well. So in remembering what he did, he forgot about everything everybody else did, the work that everybody else put in. And in a lot of the situations and scenarios that Alpo talks about, he always makes himself the main character. He is always the most important, the one of one. When it's people beside him, it's people actually pulling the trigger first, you know. But what Alpo says goes in a lot of people's minds. Oh, he said this. You just taking one man's word for it. Of course, if he is one of the ones that survived through it, he one of the ones that can really talk about it. You know, Wayne Perry can't come up out of a solitary and all that to talk to all these people. He probably never had or hasn't had that luxury in a long time. So, taking one man's word for it, and of course, he gonna make his side sound better than it is. You know, he gonna make his side sound more valuable than somebody else's or everybody else's. It was a team, you know, and I'm glad that AZ shed light on that, because it does explain a lot. It does explain a lot of the viewpoint that Alpo had. He only cared about himself, and he only saw himself. He is, in his own mind, the most important chess piece. So part 8 goes along with part 7 in debunking some of the things that Alpo said. According to Vlad, Alpo was stating that a guy was working for AZ and he was robbing AZ blind, you know. So Alpo, figuring this out, he fucked up the guy and hung him outside a window of an apartment building. And again, it was debunked by AZ, saying that Alpo over-exaggerated. Yes, he did fuck guys up. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he did rough them up. He did try to tie him or hang him outside a window, but he didn't get that far. You know, he didn't get the nigga out the window. or anything like that. So again, made it sound better or worse in this case than it actually was. The guy was able to wiggle out and run out of the apartment building, run free. Nobody died from that, you know. And speaking, AZ was saying it's no reason for anybody to die, you know. And I wholeheartedly agree with that in whatever game or field you in. Like, especially the drug game, because it's already grimy enough. He was saying, you know, if anybody was to rob me that I worked with, if anybody was to do me wrong, I just won't work with them no more. It's a solution that works for everybody, you know. Don't nobody gotta die behind it for you to prove a point that you bad. Another scenario that was discussed was Alpo stating that he shot and killed some stick-up kids that were robbing one of AZ's spots. And AZ did not believe that to be true. That made a light bulb or several light bulbs go off in my head. And I'm going to just lay it out for you right now. Number one. Was Alpo saying he did all this for AZ to prove at the time and even decades ago that he was a good friend to AZ? I don't think he was. He made it seem like he handled a lot for AZ, but there were other people including AZ, and it almost make it seem like was all of these, this person robbing this place, that person robbing AZ. Was it all Alpo in the background? And he just wanted to tie certain things in to make it seem believable. Number two, did Alpo lie about bodies he acquired over the years? If they saying he killed 14 people and that's documented, I want to see it. I want to see who it was on paper from DC. I want to see who it was on paper from New York. And I want to see that because anybody can say that. Even the feds can say, oh, he killed 14 people. Until I see 14 names and the involvement he had with that, I won't even believe that it's 14. A good liar or a person that's willing to lie very well, I should say, it would have to make sense. These stick-up kids ended up dead. I'm going to rob AZ and then say that I shot and killed those stick-up kids because they were robbing AZ. Whole time it was me. My viewpoint is a certain way because I grew up with a lot of liars in my family. You know, I've been told a lot of lies, so it's not hard to find the truth yourself, but also come to several different conclusions that could be the truth. And the involvement does matter. A lot of people think the involvement doesn't matter. The person that set it up was not the person that pulled the trigger first. I do not care. I repeat, I do not care what happened after the first shots was fired. Those shots were fatal. Nobody was going to render aid to Demencio. Nobody was going to render aid to Big Head Gary. Nobody was going to render aid to Rich Porter. But a lot of people, including Vlad himself, gives Alpo credit for being the killer. Like I said, when it's other people involved, you can't make it seem like just one person's actions got it done. If we being real, the shot that Alpo did on Rich was irrelevant. And the only reason I see for him doing that, which links the scratches on his face, is after being shot, Rich's reaction was to attack Alpo. And that's probably what happened. Hence where the scratches come from, and hence why Alpo even had to pull the trigger. He had to. It wasn't a, I am going to be in this crime. He didn't do nothing to Andre. He just watched it. It's levels to it. And I just wish people see it for that. Alpo's involvement was not as great as the other men that were involved. Part 9 was AZ talking about Alpo's behavior and his bully-like behavior. He would strip guys and throw them away like trash. A lot of that gave him excitement. It gave him joy. That's the behaviors of a bully. And yes, that's violent, but that's the least of anybody's worries in the streets. It's about humiliation. It's not about bloodshed. It seems like Alpo enjoyed punking people that he knew he could punk. Do you think that he would ever even try or attempt to strip Big Head Gary if he was alive and well and throw him in the trash? Not gonna happen. Do you think that he would have tried that on Wayne Perry or any of the dudes that actually got killed? Do you think he would have even tried to humiliate them? I don't think so. But when they down bad, yeah. When they not looking, yeah. It's something to think about. Part 10 goes back to AZ going into more detail about what he did, what he and Rich did collectively for Alpo. As well, AZ said that Alpo never snaked him, always heard him out, and things like that. And I think something to notice and something to note in that is he never snaked you to your face. And he would have never snaked you to your face. That's why the person that's shooting is always behind. Do y'all notice that? But Alpo never snaked any one of them to their face. Not Andre, not Demencio. He never snaked anybody to their face. So that does coincide with, you know, if AZ would have took that ride with Alpo, it would have been his last ride. And he would have died not knowing who Alpo was. Maybe having some sort of suspicion, or maybe not, because that was freshly when Rich Porter got killed and all of that. He would have never known. So it's more of a blessing that he didn't get in that car. Everything was revealed over time. Part 11 was a lifestyle question about Rich Porter not wearing the same outfit twice and AZ having over 60 plus cars in his lifetime. Part 12 was AZ speaking on Alpo and Rich Porter making more money in the drug game after his shooting, after he got out. And him warning them about what the police knew and how much they knew and why he had to step away. And this part is wholeheartedly about maturity, about a person knowing when their time is coming. You know, if you are warned by the police and you just take it as a warning but keep doing what you're doing, they will get you. A lot of people be like, oh, they gave a warning and then such and such later an indictment happened. That's because they never stopped watching you. You know, over time they would have knew the severity of Alpo's drug dealing in New York as well as Rich, and they already knew AZ's. People talk on the phone all the time. Around the 80s and 90s is when technology developed in a special kind of way for the police. So all of that should have been noted, and they all should have known that, you know, it's time to really be thinking about what we want to do for the rest of our lives. And AZ was at that point. That's how you know when a person really gets the message. He went on to create Mob Style, you know, which is a underground rap group that is highly noted and highly recognized in the rap industry. Part 13 was AZ recalling the night that he and 5 other people were shot. 3 lived and 3 passed away. There was more details shared by AZ, but a situation so traumatic, I feel like it would be good for the interviewer to ask if they want to speak on that again. You don't never want nobody to recall such a traumatic event, and you not no therapist. You know, you don't have no type of advice to give them. And if you don't have any healing words or good advice or enlightenment, encouragement, whatever, as a response, then I don't even think you should bring it up again, because it was talked about. Part 14 was AZ speaking on the details of the movie Paid in Full that depicted Alpo getting revenge on the guy that robbed and shot AZ by killing him. I'm not sure why that part was in the movie. Maybe to show Alpo's loyalty, but if it's not true, I wouldn't have did that. And it confuses people like me, because it's like, listen, as a person that would snake one friend would definitely snake another. So that being in a movie kind of was like a contradiction. Well, why would you X out one of your closest friends and then show your loyalty to your other friend? It don't make sense. It makes me honestly think that some of the people behind the movie were being biased towards Alpo and making him seem like he was very loyal, genuine, and thorough. And then in the end made AZ seem like he really was snitching. I want to make this clear. You know, a lot of people, or some people, would say that he was a snitch for getting up there and saying this person took the lives of 3 people that I love, 3 people that didn't deserve to die, and severely injured others, including myself. That's not snitching to me. In the name of the people that died that didn't have to, over money from an alleged junkie. So I don't know why the movie was set up like that. You know, they ran with some ideas that he had, but then in the end ended up just like snaking him. You don't make the character pull his shirt up and then he got on a wire and this, that, like, no. Part 15 is AZ speaking on why Kevin shot him 9 times and killed 3 other people. From this part, people have been comments to me. AZ said it was his fault, that him and his people were injured and some got killed. And that's not exactly what I heard or where I believe AZ was coming from. It's not about whose fault it was. And it's not about placing blame on anybody. People are quick to place blame instead of hearing that AZ took responsibility and accountability for being in the drug game, brought him and his people to that point. That's what I heard. Yes, I heard the part about him saying that he could not open the safe to save his life. But under that amount of pressure, how hard would it be for you to open a safe like that? What if somebody had a Glocky aimed at your forehead or at your dome, on your temple, ready to go, and telling you to open it, open it, open it? 3 people. It's other people crying. It's this going on. It's that going on. Open it. How hard would it be for you? That's not him saying, oh, that was my fault. Like, I just could not open it. He couldn't open it. It's not he had too much pride that he couldn't open it because that's his money that he made. I could see if he said that and that was the truth. That would be his fault. His pride got in the way. But come on now. It be people saying stuff like that that never been under that type of pressure. You saying it and not putting yourself in his shoes. You saying it and have never been robbed before. It doesn't make sense. Did his aunt screaming cause confusion? Sure it did. But is it her fault for reacting for reacting to everything that's going on, for being scared? No. They all came with foul intentions anyway. You could come with sticks and beat somebody to death. You came with something that is deemed a weapon. If you make it that, they could have came empty-handed and used their fists. They came with foul intentions anyway. It was not nobody's fault for how they reacted and for the events that took place in that apartment. And it's sad that in the black community, we go to blaming ourselves and our people blame us too. In some scenarios, we are wrong. In some of our actions, we could have did better. We could have did this instead of that. But who are you to say what he should have did? And you wasn't there and you wasn't in that situation. You could at least try to put yourself in his shoes, but you still can't feel it. Even if they said that they wasn't going to shoot nobody, even if there was a large amount of money that was outside the safe, who's to say they wouldn't have shot up that place anyway? Their intentions was based off of Kevin feeling some type of way about a prior incident with AZ. And Kevin's feeling was AZ didn't help him with a connection that he wanted to make. He wanted to make a play. He came incorrectly to AZ. First of all, he blew the money that was given to him when he was fresh out of prison. He blew through the drugs, whether he used them or sold them, but he ended up broke anyway, or ended up needing more supply for whatever he was trying to do. Kevin asked AZ to come over, and in between time, Kevin was getting high, and when AZ got there, he got a gun pulled on him on some real crazy shit, and he wasn't feeling that. But in order to get out of that situation, you got to remain cool. You got to keep it calm. Say, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But he returned the money shortly after. Hey, nah, I don't want nothing to do with that, you know? When you start using the drugs that you supply, you end up canceling yourself out. Whether it be people don't want to mess with you because of how you starting to do business, it's starting to get sloppy, or it's your behavior that nobody can deal with or wants to deal with. Especially when you trip out and pull a gun. That's something that you really can't come back from or can't explain. And 9 times out of 10, he didn't explain. You know, wasn't no apology for that after you done came down from that shit. Wasn't no apology or nothing. You just wanted to handle it a certain way once the money was returned. You should have thought to start fresh with your attitude, start fresh and try to cut back on what you using to come correct, and maybe shit'll get handled in the right way. But that was his fault. Now, motherfuckers want to talk about faults. It was his fault for getting mad in the first place. How you gonna get mad and you done showed that you a junkie to a dealer? How you gonna get mad that he don't want to do business with you after he see that you using? That's what a person that's in business, that wants to stay in business, does. Come on now. How you gonna show that you a junkie and then think that nobody gonna care that you a junkie? It's gonna reflect in the relationships that you have, both business and family. Like, it's going to reflect and show. I don't want this video to go on and on. I want to make sure that I edit this and have it out. I covered a lot in this one, which is phenomenal. The last part, if y'all want it, y'all gotta like this video and y'all gotta comment, I want part 3. I want part 3. I want part 3. Y'all gotta comment that so that I know that y'all want it, because I will cut it right here. I don't want to beat a dead horse or keep talking about just one thing. I want to switch it up and things like that. So what I can do, if y'all want part 3, is I can move on to other things. maybe 2 videos of other things after this, and then drop part 3. But just let me know how y'all want that to go. Bottom line, let me know if you want part 3. Request it on my community wall, request it under this video, and I will see y'all in the next one.